All right, get ready because today we're going deep on extortion.
Ooh, extortion.
Yeah, it sounds like something straight out of like a mobster movie.
Right.
But it's actually way more common
Yeah,
and honestly way more messed up than most people think.
it is.
We're going to be looking at how this crime actually plays out in real life and, spoiler alert, it's not just guys in pinstripe suits.
Absolutely. Yeah, extortion has evolved.
Yeah.
Gotten a lot more complex.
Okay, so before we get into all the details,
Okay.
let's just like break it down.
Yeah.
What actually is extortion? I feel like most people have this idea,
Right.
but I think it goes a lot deeper than most people realize.
Oh, it does, for sure.
Yeah.
The heart of extortion is unlawful gain, but specifically through coercion. So it's not just about a threat.
Right.
It's about a very specific kind of threat.
Okay.
Think of it like a pressure cooker.
Ooh.
The victim feels like they're trapped, like they're being squeezed and squeezed and squeezed until they have no choice but to give in.
So how is that different from just like straight up robbery?
That's a really good question.
Yeah.
Because that's also about using threats to get what you want.
Right. Exactly. And that's the difference.
Okay.
Robbery is about like immediate force or the threat of immediate force.
Right.
Somebody sticks a gun in your face and says, give me your wallet.
Right.
That's robbery.
Okay.
Extortion is different. Extortion, it's almost like a longer game. It's about like creating this whole climate of fear and manipulation.
So it's like a psychological chess match.
Exactly.
Wow.
And the threat in extortion might not be immediate. It could be the threat of revealing a secret,
Right.
damaging someone's reputation online, or
Yeah.
even, hurting their business or something.
Wow. That's dark.
It is.
So, we hear about blackmail a lot
Yeah.
in these kind of scenarios.
Yeah.
Is that just a type of extortion then?
Blackmail is definitely a type of extortion.
Okay.
It's using compromising information, the dirt you don't want out kind of thing. Right.
And it can be absolutely devastating for the victim.
Yeah, like emotionally.
Emotionally. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like holding someone's life hostage,
Right.
but not with physical chains.
Right, with information.
With that threat of exposure.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, it is.
And it targets really fundamental fears, too, right?
It does.
Like imagine someone threatening your family or your home or your livelihood
Right.
unless you do what they say.
Yeah, it's a very primal fear, right?
Right.
And that's what makes it so effective.
Yeah, it's scary to think about how vulnerable we are
Right.
to those kind of tactics.
Yeah.
And what about cyber extortion?
Yeah.
We hear about that more and more these days.
Yeah.
Is that just like a digital version of the same idea?
Yeah, essentially it is.
Okay.
Cyber extortion is a huge growing threat. And ransomware attacks are like the perfect example.
Right.
Like imagine hackers getting into your computer system,
Oh, gosh.
locking you out of your data, and they're basically holding your digital life hostage until you pay up.
So it's like that classic protection money racket,
Right.
but in the digital world.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's not just limited to individuals, right?
Right.
Businesses can be targets.
Oh, absolutely.
Governments, too.
Governments, even critical infrastructure.
Gosh.
Like imagine a hospital's entire computer system getting locked down during an emergency.
Oh, my gosh.
The potential consequences are insane.
It is really unsettling
It is.
because it's not just, like you said, in a dark alley or on the dark web.
Yeah,
It can even pop up in like normal business situations.
it can. Oh, yeah.
Really?
Like think about bribery or coerced kickbacks.
Oh, okay.
Someone in a position of power says they'll do you a favor,
Right.
like give you a contract or a promotion or whatever,
Yeah.
but only if you pay them.
Mm.
It might not be a direct threat, but the coercion is definitely there.
So even in like the corporate world, things can cross the line into being criminal.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And don't forget about politics either.
Oh, right.
The power dynamics there are so complicated.
Yeah.
And there's always the potential for abuse.
Right. So it's like extortion can basically happen in any situation where there's this imbalance of power.
Exactly.
And it's not just the wealthy and powerful at risk, right?
Not at all.
It can happen to anyone.
Absolutely. Anyone can be a victim. From everyday people getting threats online to celebrities caught up in scandals.
It's a good reminder that none of us are immune to this stuff,
Right. Exactly.
And speaking of high-profile cases,
Yeah.
the Lindbergh baby kidnapping
Oh, yeah.
is such a chilling example
Yeah.
of how extortion can really exploit our deepest fears.
It is. It shows you how devastating the impact of extortion can be.
Right.
And unfortunately, we still see echoes of that case today.
Really?
Oh, yeah. With celebrities being targeted for ransom, or blackmailed with sensitive information.
It's like history is just repeating itself.
It is. The methods may change, but the motivation is always the same.
Yeah, exploiting fear.
Yep, and vulnerability.
Okay, so let's talk about the legal side of things.
Okay.
Like, how is extortion actually defined by law?
Right.
And what are the penalties?
Yeah, so in the U.S., extortion is a federal crime.
Wow.
And it can be prosecuted at the state level, too.
Okay.
The specifics can vary from place to place.
Right.
But essentially, it comes down to getting something of value through threats or coercion.
Okay, so we know extortion is bad.
Yes.
But how bad is it?
Very bad.
Like, what kind of legal trouble are we talking about?
The penalties are super serious, and they get worse depending on how bad the crime is.
Okay.
We're talking big fines,
Right.
long prison sentences,
Yes.
and it's connected to organized crime.
Right.
The consequences can be even worse.
Yeah.
We're talking life-changing stuff.
Right, so extortion is not something to mess around with. It's
Yeah.
not like some prank.
Not at all.
This is serious.
Serious crime, serious consequences.
So are there, like, any defenses if you get accused of extortion?
There are defenses, but they can be tough to prove.
Oh, okay.
Like, you could argue there was no actual threat
Right.
or that the victim, like, agreed to it.
Okay.
But those are hard to win, legally speaking.
So it sounds like the law takes this really seriously.
Absolutely.
As it should.
Definitely.
So knowing all this, how can we protect ourselves from becoming victims?
Yeah, that's the big question.
Yeah.
You know, the more you know about how extortion works,
Right.
the better you can spot those red flags and stay safe.
So education is key.
Absolutely.
What else can we do?
Protecting your personal information is huge.
Yeah, especially online.
Especially online, yeah.
Right.
You know, think about what you're sharing on social media.
Right.
Dating apps, professional sites.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
It is. You just never know who's out there watching.
Yeah, be cautious about your digital footprint.
Exactly. Once it's out there, it's out there.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And be careful about suspicious emails. Weird messages, sketchy links, anything like that.
Don't click on anything that looks weird.
Exactly. It could be a phishing scam.
Right.
You know, trying to steal your information.
Okay, so worst case scenario,
Okay.
you find yourself in a situation that feels like extortion.
Right.
What should you do?
It's scary, I know.
It is.
But the first thing, document everything.
Really?
Absolutely. Save any emails, text messages, voicemails, anything that can be evidence.
So, like, create a paper trail.
Exactly.
Okay.
You know, that can really help if you decide to go to the police.
Oh, okay, so reach out to law enforcement.
Yes, report it.
Even if it feels embarrassing.
Especially if it feels embarrassing.
Okay.
These guys, they count on you staying silent. They want you to feel ashamed.
Right.
So by reporting it, you're not just protecting yourself.
Right.
You could be protecting others, too.
That's a good point.
Break that cycle of silence.
Yeah, empower other victims.
Exactly.
Okay, so what about getting a lawyer?
Yeah, talking to a lawyer can be super helpful.
Oh,
So
is
they
that-
tell you what your rights are,
Right.
explain the legal stuff, and help you through the whole process.
So having a support system is key.
It is, both legally and emotionally.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Okay. So what about preventing this from happening in the first place?
Ooh, I like that, thinking ahead.
Yeah.
Having a good reputation can actually be a really strong deterrent.
Really?
Yeah, these guys, they often target people or businesses they think are vulnerable or easy to manipulate.
So basically, don't be shady.
Pretty much, yeah. Keep a clean record,
Yeah.
and it's harder for them to target you.
Okay, and what about for businesses?
For businesses, strong security measures are essential.
So both physical and digital.
Both. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
worth the investment.
Yeah. Okay, so what about just saying no?
That could be hard.
Right, especially when you're scared.
Yeah, standing up to these guys takes courage,
Yeah.
but giving in usually doesn't solve the problem.
Really?
It often just makes them come back for more.
It's like that slippery slope.
Exactly.
Give them an inch.
They take a mile.
Yeah, wow.
They might start small,
Yeah.
but once they know you'll pay the stakes, just get higher.
And the emotional impact can be rough too, right?
Oh, absolutely.
It's more than just the money.
It is. It's about your sense of security.
Right.
The fear, the anxiety, that violation,
It's trauma.
it is trauma.
And like any trauma, it needs to be addressed.
Exactly. Talking to a therapist or a
Oh.
support group can help.
Yeah, to process it all.
Yeah. And start to heal.
Healing takes time.
It does.
So seeking help is really important.
It is. It's a sign of strength, not weakness.
So we've talked about the individual experience.
Yeah.
But what about the community's role in all this?
The community is huge.
Yeah. Because extortion thrives in secrecy, right?
It does.
So bringing it to light is important?
Absolutely. When communities work together to raise awareness, share information, and support victims, it makes it much harder for these guys to operate.
So it's about creating this culture of vigilance.
Exactly.
Where people are informed and aware.
Right.
And looking out for each other.
Yep, like neighborhood watch programs.
Yeah, those are great.
Or business associations, sharing security tips and things like that.
So it's about being united.
It is. We're all in this together.
Yeah, by supporting each other.
Absolutely.
We can make a real difference.
Exactly. Shift that power back to the community.
Yeah.
Take it away from the bad guys.
Wow. This has been really eye-opening.
It has.
It's unsettling to realize how common extortion is.
It's everywhere.
Yeah, it really is.
But the more we understand it,
right,
the better we can protect ourselves.
Right.
And our communities.
Okay, so speaking of knowledge, in our last segment, we're going to go way back and look at some historical examples of extortion.
Oh, interesting.
It'll show you how long this crime has been around.
Yeah, it's a fascinating, if a little disturbing, trip through history.
All right, welcome back to the deep dive.
Yeah.
You know, we've spent this whole episode really digging into extortion.
Right.
A crime that's often hidden.
Absolutely.
But it affects so many parts of our lives.
It does.
We've talked about the psychology behind it, the legal stuff, and even how to protect ourselves online.
Definitely.
But before we wrap things up, let's take a trip back in time.
Ooh, a history lesson.
Yeah, to see how extortion has played out over the centuries.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
It is.
To trace the evolution of this crime.
Yeah, extortion's not a new thing.
Right.
It's been around forever.
Yeah.
You know?
Like way back when.
Oh, yeah.
Adapting and changing as society changes.
Exactly.
So where do we even start? Where are some of the earliest examples of extortion?
Well, we can go all the way back to ancient Rome.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, think about the Roman emperors. Some of them were notorious for using their power to extort money from their subjects.
Oh, gosh.
They could literally make or break someone with just a word.
Yeah.
And they weren't shy about using that power to get rich.
It's like extortion was built into the government.
It kind of was. Yeah, it was a brutal system.
Yeah.
But it shows how people in power can abuse that power for their own benefit.
And that pattern keeps popping up throughout history, doesn't it?
Oh, it does?
Yeah. It's like, does power corrupt?
Right.
Or does it just attract corrupt people?
Big questions.
Yeah, that's for the philosophers to debate.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's fast forward a bit to medieval Europe.
Ooh, knights and castles.
Exactly.
Yeah, the feudal lords.
Right.
They often extorted money and resources from the peasants.
Right, the people working the land.
Exactly. It was basically protection money.
Oh, so that's nothing new?
Nope, not at all.
Wow.
Same old tactic.
Right, using fear to exploit people.
Yep. And don't forget about the pirates.
Oh, right. The Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, they were extortion experts.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Seizing ships and demanding ransoms.
Oh, my gosh.
For the crew, the cargo, everything.
Those were some high-stakes negotiations.
They were.
Out on the open ocean.
That's right. It shows how adaptable extortion is.
Right. It can happen anywhere.
Anywhere there's an opportunity.
Yeah. And as we get closer to modern times, extortion keeps evolving, right?
It does.
So in the 19th century, we've got organized crime syndicates in the U.S.,
like the mafia.
Yeah, the mafia.
They used extortion to get into businesses, unions, even entire industries.
It's like those old mobster movies.
Yeah.
It's easy to romanticize that era.
I know.
But the reality is it was brutal.
It was.
Yeah, those stories are based on real events.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And the mafia's power really shows how extortion can undermine the rule of law.
It does. It was all threats.
Right.
Intimidation, violence.
Yeah, it's a dark chapter in American history.
It is.
But organized crime and extortion still exist today.
They do. It's just not as obvious as it used to be.
Right. It's gone digital.
Yeah, it's more sophisticated now.
And in some ways, even more insidious.
It is.
It's a reminder that we can't let our guard down.
Absolutely.
We need to learn from the past.
Yeah.
So we can protect ourselves now.
Exactly.
This deep dive has really opened my eyes.
It's been fascinating, hasn't it?
It has. We've gone from ancient Rome
all
the way to the internet age.
It's wild.
Yeah, uncovering all the faces of extortion.
It's still happening.
Yeah, it's more than just a legal problem.
It is.
It's about power.
Yeah.
Greed.
Yeah.
And just how vulnerable we all are.
That's the heart of it.
Yeah, extortion is complex.
It is.
With deep roots and huge consequences.
Absolutely.
But if we understand its history...
Right.
recognize its different forms,
Yeah.
and know how these guys operate,
Right.
we can fight back
We
and
could.
protect ourselves and our communities.
I agree.
It's a call to action.
It is.
We can't be naive about this threat.
Well,
Knowledge is power.
absolutely.
So by shining a light on this crime,
Yeah.
we hope you feel empowered
That's the goal.
to be vigilant and to speak out against injustice.
It's about taking a stand.
Exactly. So that's it for our deep dive into the world of extortion.
That was a good one.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We hope you found it informative and maybe even a little bit empowering.
Yeah, stay safe out there.
Yeah. Remember, knowledge is our best defense.
Absolutely.
So stay informed, stay vigilant, and until next time,
Yeah.
keep diving deep.